FedEx full, we command in the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, ain't no need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Command is moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot and the mid dissect the grind. District divider with a city in mind. Join the damn squad, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the words, or shit is shit. K-Dot.
Woo! Glad that's over. Welcome everyone to an edition of Shades Monday of District Divided DC Sports Podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. We're rocking the shades. The boys got it done. 42-19, 8-5 on the season, heading into the bye week. We'll play New Orleans after that, but the team gets some much needed rest. And so looking forward to that for them. And we're going to go ahead and recap this game. And of course, we got the comment mailbag at the very end. But before we begin this episode, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Share that shit! See, I'm trying to keep it
Oh no, did I lose you?
simple. I did a whole music video for you guys last time. Just share it. Just share this shit, okay?
Share this shit. We greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the post-game recap here. So our thoughts. Once again, love to see it. K-Dot, 8-5, called it. Amit, 7-6, didn't, and so thankful for it. The Commanders moved to 8-5, 42-19, up 28-0 very quickly into the game. K-Dot, what was your reaction? What stood out to you? The floor is entirely yours.
The first thing I thought of when the clock struck all zero was, God damn, this was the game we were supposed to have against Dallas.
Yes.
This is not. This one didn't make a lot of sense, but okay. I'll take it. It was, I almost wondered if Cliff Kingsbury was listening to the podcast of the fucking All 22, man. It was everything we said we wanted. The quick game was there. As far from a complimentary football standpoint, remember, score early, get them to be one-dimensional. You got Tony Pollard with less than 10 carries in a fucking game. You did what you were supposed to do as far as that complimentary football. And then more than anything, the word that that's been just the absolute worst for us these last few weeks, execution. They executed. They executed on everything, right? Everything they wanted to do, they executed on. There were aspects of Cliff's offense that we haven't seen recently as far as some of the run scheming stuff. Remember, I was telling you that I felt like the offense was feeling more vanilla than it typically is. Like, yeah. I felt like he was not introducing enough. The things that made the offense as special as it was a lot of the run scheme stuff, who they were setting in motion, what was happening as far as the counter, what was the look as far as the gap scheme and zone scheme, and all that shit. To leave you completely not knowing what the fuck is being ran at you at any given point in time. And they did all of that in this game. All of that in this game. And you see what it does. You see what it allows you to do. Also, just seeing the rhythm that they were in offensively. Boom, bap, constantly, right? It was start off the game. What's Cliff say? All right, starting Terry over on the right side. Let's just take care of it right now. And what do? We need to make sure Terry gets involved immediately. Let's do that. And you see the kind of game your boy had, right? This is what this team is. This is who we are supposed to be. This is a game that really reflects what the identity of this team was. We went for it on fourth down. Like, this is who we are. It's who we are. Like, you look at the box score. Look at those rushing yards, baby. Look at those rushing yards. Look at that time of possession. Look at that shit. This is who we are. Punch you in your fucking mouth. This is who we are. Love seeing us getting back to it.
Absolutely love it. That time of possession in particular was excellent. K-Dot, I took notes during the very first drive, and one of the first ones I had was short passing game immediately, and good call, K-Dot. So wanted to give you your props there because you were talking about the short passing game. The very first play of the game, K-Dot mentioned it. How about Terry McLaurin on the right side? Cliff Kingsbury, often accused of being very static. Terry's always on the left, starting him on the right. An immediate throw. It was a bit high, but props to Terry for catching it. And then the very next one, boom, bap. That's going to Noah Brown real quick. And then a quick 40-yard touchdown on 2nd and 1 for Brian Robinson, who is so important to this offense. So you get a couple short passes, then the run. The next drive, 8 rushes, 3 passes. So now we're getting back to what we do. Now we're getting back to what made the offense special. And you're increasing time of possession by running the ball. So wanted to point those things out. Zane Gonzalez hitting extra points, missing field goals, hitting extra points. Listen, I'm just glad he was hitting the extra points. We can talk about field goals another time, but glad to see those go in. And then Terry, second catch from the slot, third catch from the slot. It wasn't always wide left. So props to Cliff for moving Terry around. Like you said, getting him involved early and often. Congrats to him. Set a career high for touchdowns in a season. Was 8, then became 9 over the course of the game. 8 catches, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns for number 17. NFL very, very good on offense. Brian Robinson, 16 carries, 103 yards and a touchdown. Shout out Chris Rodriguez, who closed the game out beautifully. 12 of his 13 carries in the fourth quarter. Finished with 13 carries, 94 yards and a touchdown. And shout out the running game as a whole, because those were the most rushing yards we've had since that Dallas game in 2012 where we clinched the division. I was at that game. And so shout out. That's 12 years since eclipsing that total. So on offense, just excellent job overall. Way to get back on track. 42 points, K-Dot. The offense was brilliant.
Offense was just doing what it is they needed to do. It's you could see the offensive line is healthier than they have been recently. You could see that just with some of the counter stuff that they were doing. I haven't seen the tackles and the guards pulling the last few weeks like they typically do. And that to me was always, all right, I guess these guys just aren't feeling 100%. It felt like we were right back in it. I just can't get over the variation of running that I saw again. It just reminded me of all those all 22s I loved watching earlier on in the season, where it was like the absolute, I hate saying his fucking name, but the absolute antithesis to what Eric Bieniemy was doing as far as a rushing attack, right? That to me was the shit. That was awesome. And just see Jayden in his flow. It's hey, cold weather game, buddy. You took care of business. Thank you. Like, it's to see him in the rhythm. This game looks so less disjointed than it typically is. And I think that more than anything, it's our ability to get in the short yardage situation I've been talking about. Didn't care if it happened on the ground or through the air. Just get them in short yardage situation, because that opens up the playbook. And more often than not, we'll run, right? But so it's just this team, we're at our best when they do the no huddle, when they get into the line, when you feel Jayden's got that smile on his face. That smile was back. Smile was back all day, right? Like, it's this is what we do. It's just efficient. It looks like a machine. Like, that's what we do. Like, that shit is fucking awesome. And against the defense that, look, we were fucking scared of going into this week.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Care of shit. Like what it is they did against that defensive line, they knocked those motherfuckers out. That was a strength of that Tennessee team. It didn't matter. I mean, a lot of what it is, like I said, they did attacking things on the edges, just taking advantage of certain aspects of certain looks. It was just, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful to see. Love seeing Ben Sinnott get more involved as the game went on. I would love to see snap counts as far as that go. Luke McCaffrey have a couple plays.
I got you.
I know it's coming. Yeah, just offensively, it was like and way to play the best football that you can as a complement to the defense. And I'm sure we'll get into more of the defense stuff now.
Absolutely. We will in just a moment. And like you said, playing complementary football, because the defense has more than earned that complementary football to be played for them these last few weeks. They've played well enough. It's on the offense to help them out. The offense does help them out. Wanted to shout out Jayden, because he did something that you and I had both mentioned in the last episode, which was, hey, if you have an opportunity to run, even if it's for just 4 or 5 yards or something like that, take it, go down. He did that perfectly, because now this Titans defense is completely off balance and the playbook's open to you. You're getting into second and short, third and short, etc. That's where we live, right? That is where we live. He did it perfectly. And so that was good. The ball placement wasn't perfect, just to be clear. I know with the stats, 25 of 30, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. He also ran for 1. 9 carries, 34 yards, and that touchdown. So he had a really good game. It wasn't the ball placement we're used to, but job done. 42 points. The offense was great. Any final thoughts here before we move to the defense, K-Dot?
Yeah, as you said that about JD, I have the notes that I wrote during the game. I said, JD5, protecting himself with the dive. Good job, young man. 3rd and 1 is okay. Quick pass to turn to get the first down. Like, that's my shit. Take what the defense give you. Get the fuck down. Get out of the way. This is what you need to do. And as far as the ball placement early on in Jayden Daniels games, I'm realizing they're just not going to be on point.
Oh,
Like,
the very first
like
one
it.
almost never is.
I love it. It's the first couple throws are a bit random. You can tell he's got the jitters. He's just excited. Like, and I'm cool with it. Because usually if he's got the jitters at least early on, you start to see if Cliff starts noticing it, if they start hitting them, if the receivers help him out, you know it's going to be a good game. You know it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also must be said, I think the bye week's going to help a whole lot with this, because I don't know if there's any credence to the point that maybe he is tired, but you are seeing slowly but surely over the course of the season more and more going a little bit higher. I know he's been battling the rib injury, stuff like that. The bye week is coming at a perfect time for these guys. Seriously, much needed.
I don't know about that, honestly. Like, the reason I don't know about this game shouldn't have been like that. Why did the Dallas game happen like that? Like, what beat up at it? What the fuck is that? Like, I don't get it.
I agree. I agree.
Get it. So, like, are they on a roll? Do they need to keep going? Is this going to stop momentum? I don't understand what the fuck is happening.
No, I don't think this will stop momentum. Good vibes for a couple weeks for this team. They get to sit back. We get to scoreboard watch over here, see what happens. Hopefully some results go our way. But ultimately, this team controls its own destiny. So, I mean, it's us as fans looking over our shoulders, being like, hopefully these teams lose a little bit just to help us out, get a cushion. But ultimately, this team controls its destiny. So it's all in front of them. Let's talk about the defense, K-Dot, who forced a couple turnovers, played very well overall. Shout out the fans. There were a couple false starts on that very first drive, one by each tackle. Nice and loud. Appreciate that. K-Dot, your thoughts on defense?
I love when you have an opposing team fucking it up and you're like, you know what? Not going to fuck it up with you. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that you're fucking this up, right? Like, clearly you guys aren't prepared the same way that we're prepared. Things are getting a little, and what you don't do is what you see certain games where it's like, it devolves into chaos, right? You saw that sometime with the Chicago game. You saw that you of course saw that last week. Whatever the fuck was going on at the end of that game. Like, it's like you played down, and it was like, no, we're not. No, you guys can do that bullshit, right? And look, ain't no way around it. Them tackles, boy. Oh, god damn. Oh, them tackles are rough, boy. I like JC Latham in the draft, but god damn, son. They immediately started attacking them. Like, you can tell they were scared. First drive, both of them had a full start.
Yeah.
Like,
first drive, it was a 3 and out. It wasn't like they got it first and then did it. Yeah.
They attacked them. Now, the thing is that, like, look, this is where we talk about the complementary football being very, very important. If the game is close, you probably don't see anything that you saw in this game. There's a good chance you don't see anything that you saw in this game. There's a good chance Tony Pollard actually has a pretty good stat line. There's a good chance you're going to see some of that shit. But what we were able to do is when that team got down by 14 points early in the game, it made them one-dimensional. And when it made them one-dimensional, Washington got in a position that they love to be in. Witt, Quinn, they love this shit. Oh, you have to throw now? Okay, we're coming after you. And we know your weak spots, right? And everybody played with reckless abandon. Frankie Louvu, my God, son.
He's should be a Pro Bowler this year.
Oh, just dominant. Just, you can feel the energy off the TV screen, right? It's just, electricity. And then, shout out to Deron Payne. Best game I see. I can't wait to watch Count 22 on Deron, man. He was fucking killing. He had that screen that he blew up. Like he was doing it up. Everybody else saying that Dante Fowler. Good job getting a double-digit sacks for playing that little two-hand touch. You do whatever you got to do. But you're seeing what this defense can do when they're put in the right position to get the stuff done best that they can, right? I don't know what the fuck I just said, but you really don't know.
You got the audience's attention, kid.
The defense itself, we still know there's talent deficiency. We still know that they got room to do everything else. They got room to improve. We still know Marshawn Lattimore being this team is a huge fucking upgrade compared to anything else that we're having right now currently. But when you put them in the most opportune time, they get shit done. There's still some issues with allowing teams to score in the fourth quarter, even with the time of possession of the game looking the way it did this game. They need to figure that shit out because that just seems like it's just a rule now, right? Teams are going to be able to score in the fourth quarter. I don't know what that's about because it literally nothing happened in this game that happened in the previous games. You would think the defense would be tired to do that, right? So once they get that shit figured out, but I'm like, man, look, if this team has a lead, this defense is enough.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think the nice thing, now we've been on the 3-game losing streak, but the nice, if you can call it nice, is that you have seen the defense make strides all the way through, right? We talked about the roster turnover. Emmanuel Forbes released, wishing him the best of luck. You also see, and speaking more to the roster turnover, Fedarian Mathis was a healthy scratch today. And so you almost wonder, does that motivate Deron Payne, for example? Also, like Adam Peters coming for every single person that was on this roster last year, apparently. I mean, like the Grim Reaper. This guy is just like, yo, if I didn't bring you in this offseason, you're under a microscope. But this defense, back to it, has been improving over and over and over again. So shout out Joe Witt and this coaching staff because these boys are ready to play. The fumbles. Shout out Mike Sanderstill for ripping it out and recovering it. How about that? This kid's incredible. Clearly fired up from the Michigan-Ohio State stuff. Like, this kid is incredible. Shout out Tyler Owens, preseason hero. He punches one out on the kickoff. We end up scoring off of that. So it's good to see that this defense is increasingly, and special teams, increasingly opportunistic. And then in coverage against, frankly, lesser QBs, like not the top 10 or whatever, top 12 even, you can do something against them. And they showed that against Will Levis. And again, you make him one-dimensional. Tony Pollard, 8 carries, 35 yards. You don't get him in rhythm and you make him one-dimensional, which is what we wanted. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. So shout out the defense. I mean, they were great. They really were.
Yeah, Mikey Sanderstill. I think he did punch somebody on the sideline. I don't know if I was the only one that saw that.
You may have been.
Okay. I was like, no.
Yeah, do me a favor. That comes up in the All 22. Don't mention it.
Cool. But I was like, no, don't do that. Yeah, I would say the defense overall has made strides. Especially, like you can see they're installing something. It took a while to get there, but the guys are learning, they're understanding, and the coaches are understanding who's capable of doing what and putting them in the right position to be successful. That's why you're seeing the healthy scratches the way you're seeing them. I think it's more just we're putting the best players on the field, like, period. Like, there is no, we don't care about the contracts. We don't care about who brought you in. We don't care about any of that shit. Do you work for what it is we're doing? Period. And they're going to play the best guys out there. Like, you can see what's happening as far as the secondary. You can see what's going on with Mike. You can see what's going on with St. Juice compared to Mikey Davis and all, what they're doing as far as the rotation and stuff goes. They're trying to get the best out of what it is they have. I know they can't wait to get Lattimore in that fucking game because I'm telling you, man, if Lattimore can take care of his side of the field, what Mike is doing and what Igbenogany can do as far as even the tackle game, just what he does from slot, just playing physically. And then Sanders still, like, you can see the IQ. And that's what I've been saying, like, the last All 22. You see the IQ is, like, high as shit, but the physicality is becoming a real big thing for him. And that, to me, is like, yeah, it's – this defense has some – there's some cool shit happening. I do wish that I was hoping that we would have the lead enough that I was just going to see a bunch of, like, the young guys play just to see where they were at. But I think as the season goes on, I mean, now that we're still in that, are you jockeying for playoff position? Do you care about that? Or you care about the development thing? Like, what's the case? Like, what's going on? I'd like to see them get some of the more young guys in there to see where it is that they're at within the entire confines space of the team. But I think the coaching staff has done a damn good job just knowing the talent they have.
They've done a spectacular job. 8 wins on the season. I mean, worst case, you're bottoming out 8 and 9. Of course, we're not thinking that way at all, nor should anybody. But to have 8 wins, to double your total from last season with this much roster turnover, with games to go. Meaningful December football, guys. I mean, this is exciting stuff. And man, the NFC's strong this year too. So you're not doing it in a weak NFC. You're doing it in a strong NFC. So shout out the players, the coaching staff, general manager. Like, it's been a great season so far. Any final thoughts, Kate, up before we move to the comment mailbag?
I'm glad we're taking a little break. As far as Commanders content for a second, I'm sure they need it too. Yeah, good game. I'm just hoping that they learned a lot from this one and they keep it up. And Cliff's still willing to try the new things and do things that he knows works and just stick with it and don't try to get too clever for you on fucking bridges. That flea flicker looked nasty as shit. They just, just there's some shit here that we're good at and you can lean on it. Because I'm telling you, I haven't seen defense that can really play off of what it is we do well. We're just too good at it.
Yeah. All right. And with that, we go over to the comment mailbag. And of course, before we do, we got to be introduced by our very own Nikki.
Comment mailbag time, motherfuckers. District divided, ain't got time for no suckers. Spread the word, get in line. OGs and new G's, it's your time. And spread the gospel, cause this shit is divine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you as always for that intro, Nikki. We begin with the first comment, which came from Coach. Shout out, Coach. Washington's offense, and this is before the game. Washington's offense averaged 4.4 yards before contact. Washington's run game is based on its running backs and not its offensive line. I said for months that it was a B-Rob offense and not a JD offense. There are offenses based on talent, and there are offenses based on scheme. Cliff's offense is based on scheme. The execution of that offense needs to be perfect consistently. I mostly watch offense on film, but I think defenses have adjusted to Cliff's offense. This is very fun to read knowing what just occurred. From a two-high light box defense to a single high wide 9, an odd front or double mug defenses, Cliff has yet to adjust to that. I agree with Amit about changed expectations. Thanks for the love, guys. Go Birds. And of course, the Eagles end up getting themselves a very nice win in Baltimore, pushing us further away from a potential division run. But K-Dot, your reaction to the comment there from Coach?
My reaction, Coach, is that after the outcome of this particular game, if you've watched the film, what are your thoughts?
It's a good question. Looking forward to hearing Coach's thoughts on that one. We go to Eric Brown. Shout out Eric Brown. Must-win game is the comment, and it was. And we did, thankfully. That's one comment. That's Eric Brown. And then we got Vindo. Shout out Vindo, OG. We got to win this for Mariota, baby. Let's go. 21-17 was the score prediction over there. K-Dot, your reaction to the two comments. One, was it a must-win game? And two, getting the win for Mariota.
Depends on your definition, like what the expectation is or what it is you think the goal is. Like if it's, yeah, we want to make the playoffs. We want to we're going for this thing, which should be what everybody thinks, right? Then yeah, you need to fucking win this game. There's one more game as far as Dallas that's the easiest probably that's of the games left. We lost to them. So like this is you got to stack these up after losing 3 in a row just to have some sort of momentum or at least know what you're capable of doing because you're about to come up against some guys that, ready to punch you in your fucking mouth. So like, there's shit that needs to get done if we're trying to make a playoff run. Overall, I still like, yes. Do it personally for me, was it a must win? No, but none of these games this season have been a must win for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a must win if you have playoff aspirations and have bought into the new expectations that had been set when we traded for Lattimore and being 7-2 and then going on this losing streak, of course. If you're just observing and you're just like, what do we have? What do we not? Looking more long term? No. Not necessarily a must win, just like K-Dot had mentioned over there. Let's see. Let's go to one more from Coach, and then we got a little run from Mr. Payne. Oh, no. We'll go to Coach, then we'll go to Tony, then we'll go to the run from Mr. Payne. Coach goes, I was having a chat with Wole. The number one thing, and shout out Urban Sports Scene, I believe is the name of the pod there. The number one thing Washington needs to do in order to win the run game and time of possession is to play Ben Sinnott as a fullback. John Bates can also play fullback. There are two ways to beat single high loaded box, odd front, and double mug defenses carrying from the prior comment. Big shots over the top and being more physical with the run game. Washington does not have the protection, the weapons, or the coaching to consistently hit big shots over the top. C-Rod and B-Rob have to get carries, but Sinnott and Bates can really open up the run game as H-backs or fullbacks. See the Jayden Daniels run touchdown as an example. Hashtag share this shit. K-Dot, your reaction to that comment?
My reaction is that earlier in the season we were doing it without Senate or whatever. So like, okay. But the what I saw in this particular game, and the all 22 is going to be illuminated to me, is what I thought was missing from the run game was the health of the offensive line. In the sense of, I didn't think they were being anywhere near as mobile as they had been earlier in the season. A lot of what it is they do is predicated on a lot of guys moving around. I understand as far as having the H-back thing. I'd like to see that wrinkle added to the run attack. But what you see here with this one is when they run a lot of GT counter stuff or a lot of stuff where you'll have the opposing tackle pull around to try to get into, what is it, the C or D gap. And then the running back will follow it behind there. There were a couple plays this time where I was seeing some of the wide receivers that were in motion were actually lead back. Like there were a couple times where like in the hole, shit, that's Diami Brown. Like, oh shit, I was like, he was the lead blocker? Like, what happened there? Like there were some, like there were just, I understand what you mean as far as that. Yeah, as far as that aspect of the game, I'd like to see, as anyone would like to see, a lead blocker that is really good at lead blocking. Like, yeah, I get it. But when you need to be able to open up the offense in some other areas, you necessarily can't have somebody playing at H-back or fullback position. I'd like to see more of it. It's my favorite kind of offenses have it. Yeah. I just don't think that it's,
look,
can't do it on there.
Yeah, it would be fun to be the Baltimore Ravens with a Pat Ricard. It would be fun to be the San Francisco 49ers with the Kyle Juszczyk. And like maybe something like that happens. Once again, shout out Cliff Kingsbury, shout out Bobby Johnson. You don't get 267 rushing yards, averaging 6 yards a pop on the Tennessee Titans without identifying ways to open up lanes. Tennessee, you can think what you want to about them. That was not a team that was about to roll over today. I mean, you punched them in the mouth early, and you continue to establish, and you continue to dominate. And that is coaching and the players, is both of them. So just want to shout them out. We didn't have that H-back today, but like you said, you see Diami Brown all of a sudden being the lead blocker. You see the counter runs to open up lanes. I thought the run game concepts today were brilliant. So just wanted to shout them out again.
Coach, if you get an opportunity to actually look at this game or whatever you do as far as the All-22, I know you said last week you were watching another podcast or something for it. I think you can make do if you have enough misdirection. If you have enough wrinkles where no one knows what the fuck is coming at any given point in time. What I challenge you to is to look at this offense and look at the running game and pre-snap, tell me where the fuck you think the ball is going to go. And if you can call it correct, I'll give you all the props in the world. I'm telling you right now, you ain't got no fucking idea what they're doing at any given point in time, because I don't have any fucking idea what they're doing at any point in time. And that, to me, has been the thing that made us special early on in the season when it came to that run game.
In contrast to Eric Bieniemy, we don't know when we're running, and we don't know where the ball's going. We go over to Tony. Shout Tony. That 70s soul song was amazing. Good shit. Amit, during the offseason, when KDOT would use Washington Legends uniform numbers to mark how many days left until the season opener, you promised to do a deep dive into the team's history. Once the season started, we're keeping the main thing the main thing. I just want you to know I haven't forgotten, and I can't wait for that episode. You're not a movie buff, so KDOT, check out Predestination and let me know what you think in an ATP after the pod over there. KDOT? Oh, well, first off, Tony.
Yep.
Yes, that episode is coming. Promise to deliver it to you. Should be good. I'm working on my graphical skills right now, so maybe I'll incorporate some of those in the presentation as well. KDOT, over to you with Predestination, and maybe some brief thoughts if you've already seen it.
I have not seen it. I will look it up and I will give it a look. I don't think I've seen it. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And if we go into the history of the franchise, it's going to get real dark real quick. I'm just saying. I'll put that out there.
Well, you'll see it in graphical form. So we go over to Tony.
How do you make graphics for racism?
Well, you're about to find out in that episode. Tony goes. Tony with another one. Okay, so this is This is after the game. Yeah, let's just do it. And then we're going to go back in time. so there's some after the game, some before, but we're already in it for this one. So Tony, after the game goes, glad we got the dub, but I really wasn't impressed. I don't know. They did what they were supposed to do to an inferior team. I'm glad they leaned on the run with the lead. Levis has a weird throwing motion. Tiki in the booth. New favorite crew? Okay, not your reaction.
No. Fuck no. Fuck no. Plus, they got 3 guys in the booth, and it's not. They're better than they used to be. I'll give them that. But Tiki talking about how. Tiki talking about how, like, oh man, there was a lot of love in the building for me. I'm like, wasn't me there. Clearly wasn't me in the building because you ain't got nowhere safe, Tiki. Look, this is an inferior team, but on this 3-game skid, we lost clearly to other inferior teams. Dallas is far inferior to Tennessee. You got to realize that. They're a much worse team. I get division rivalry, whatever. They're still a much worse team. We didn't just win this game. We beat the fucking shit out of them. We did the things that we knew we were supposed to do going into the game. Everyone knew what it is we wanted to do going into the game. They couldn't stop us from doing the things that we wanted to do in the game. Like, there's no reason you should be able to listen to our fucking podcast with Tennessee Titans and be able to, like, oh, that's the game plan. That's what they want to do. Oh, that's what we're going to do. Stop it. Everyone fucking knows. Okay? Everybody knows. And we still did it. That's a success. Whether or not we can sustain that, I get that. But this itself, take it for what it is. We beat the shit out of an NFL team. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, that for me was the impressive part, was the way in which we did it. So it was, yes, we dominated, but also, I mean, K-Dot, can you throw the box score up again, please? Because this here, I mean, 463 yards, 40 minutes time of possession. I don't recall having 40 minutes time of possession earlier this season. Maybe we did, but it was so dominant, right? It was so dominant that you couldn't help but be impressed, especially after a 3-game losing streak. To put the exclamation point on this type of game where you need to have it, again, depending on expectations, you got to be impressed with these guys. Like, it was an impressive victory over an inferior opponent. Yes, they took care of business. Yes, but this felt a lot like that Arizona game, winning 42-14, where from the jump, we were better and it was a party the whole time. Get final reaction there?
Yeah, you just got to look, we got into the perfect game flow for what it is we do best. It was perfection as far as that goes. But that's what comes with complimentary football. Yes, the only thing I'll give you is the Tennessee and those goddamn penalties. Jesus Christ, was that a level of incompetence?
Turns out 3-8 for a reason.
that was
didn't factor that into the prediction.
Coming off that Houston game, I was like, oh, they're riding high. They've been doing all kind of shit. And then, like, the vibes are probably bad there in Nashville right now, I'll tell you. The penalties themselves were just like, if there's anything, I'm like, maybe that wasn't fair. Maybe I'm looking at that, but I even look at that and say, I think we just intimidated the fuck out of them. Like, I think that's what the penalties came from. And the crowd was loud early.
Very loud. Very
I
loud.
will ask you this. The second half, the first drive in the second half, we just turned the ball back over. What were you thinking?
I was getting nervous.
Same here.
I was getting nervous because here's the thing. We were also throwing. And I was like, why are we throwing? We just discussed. We just did this.
Oh, no.
First time we're running.
So coming out of the half, I'm like, put your foot on their necks. Throw it down the field.
And I was like, through running, which works, keep doing that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But anyway, what was scaring me was like an incompletion stopped the clock. And I was like, guys, like, come on. But anyway, it worked out. It worked out in the end. Let's go over to the best prediction in the comment mailbag, which belongs to Mr. Payne. And we're going on a bit of a Mr. Payne run over here. Okay. I think we blow them out 42-10. And of course, the 0 and 9 are right next to each other. So if you assume the typo, 42-19, Mr. Payne nailed it, K-Dot. I mean, just perfect prediction there. Perfect. But here comes the next one. What'd you say?
Hope is an incredible thing.
It really is. And Mr. Payne's supplying it. He also goes, we lost 3 in a row, still in the playoff hunt, knew everything, and we're freaking out. Mr. Payne's just telling, hey, calm down. We're going to blow him out. And we did. Which is quite nice. Mr. Payne also goes, if receivers catch the ball, we win. Watch the losses, people. Jayden's a rookie and the best quarterback we've had in 25 years, and you're complaining. SMDH. Again, Mr. Payne going, relax. These receivers catch the ball, will be good to go. Mr. Payne also goes, why would any fan mention EB? I see crack smokers still exist in 2024. Jim. K-Dot, we'll take a brief break there. Your reaction to those comments.
I don't need to dunk on the Jim. Y'all know my thoughts. Jimmy. Look, this game in particular, execution. It's the name of the game. It's execution. It's not seeing the stupid, dumb bullshit we've seen over the last 3 weeks of guys just not playing the way they need to play, not catching balls they need to catch, not helping each other out that we need to help out. But I think the way that you get into that is if you lean on the dudes you know will produce for you, and it raises that level for everybody and gets them in that mode to actually succeed. And that, to me, is what happens when you do the quick passing game. You get Terry McLaurin involved early. When you do that stuff, when you lean on the run, less chances for people to drop a fucking football if you just run some bitch. Like, those things will just stack the deck more in your favor. I don't think this game, this outcome of this game doesn't make me change my level of what it is I think the talent on this team is. It's like I said in the All-22. It feels like a light switch. If they want to execute, if everybody's executing at the level they need to execute, we can win any game. If they don't, we'll lose any game.
Yeah. But also got to be said one more time with Cliff. Got Terry involved early. Very first play of the game, that's going to Terry. He's on the right side. Next two catches for Terry, he's in the slot. He's not on wide left. Like, they did move him around enough, got him the 4 catches for 46 yards and a touchdown in the first quarter. I mean, a concerted effort to get him the ball, and I love that. Go over to Mr. Payne with a couple more here. Can I have something to say?
Every time I think about Cliff, and you know I like Cliff.
Yeah.
Wonderful voice. When we want to give him props as far as the Terry McLaurin getting involved early, every time I'm happy and I realize how happy I was watching this game, the same part of me wants to smack the shit out of him. Why is it week 13 and we're seeing this?
Hey, better you learn it than never learn it at all. Better late than never.
There. No need to complain. I get it. But there's at least a little smidgen of me like, nigga, you didn't know.
Well, I think, sure. I mean, because listen, we all know, and there have been so many games in the past, and this precedes Cliff as well, where we're like, why the fuck hasn't Terry touched the ball? It's been 3 quarters. Like, why does that happen? And when we notice, and so today, to me, Cliff viewed it as inexcusable to not get him involved early. And by the way, the energy difference it made as well. Terry getting the ball early, oh, you could feel it. You could feel it offensively. Was like, yo, we are going just from the first play.
Nothing you said is wrong. Of course. But why? Now?
I think Cliff had to experience that. He was like, what if I just feature Terry? He's like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome.
In therapy right now, we're working on my brain does, I catastrophize things, right? So I think about worst case scenario on like everything in my personal life. I try to do my best not to do this with this team, at least now that there's a new day, right?
And you got a bye week to relax.
Worst case scenario. So this is just the way my brain operates, okay? There have been 2 times this season that we've heard the complaints about Terry McLaurin only lining up on one side of the field. One was in the preseason. It was like in that preseason area where everybody kind of noticed that he was like staying on one side of the field and was like,
they made the comp to D-Hop in Arizona. They're like, he always stayed on one side. Right.
And it kind of went away because of the early success of the team, right? So like nobody was really talking about it. And then finally again last week, okay? The only thing I'm mindful of, and I'm not saying this is happening, once again, my mind thinks worst case scenario, is that I like the idea of them not allowing anybody from the outside getting involved with what's happening inside the organization. But when I think about the expectations that are starting to become a thing or have become a thing over the last few weeks, as you mentioned, the record and everything that happened off that, the trade for Marshawn Lattimore was kind of like, oh, wow, okay, we're doing this now. I don't think it's enough for me to say. I don't think there's enough evidence for me to say that this is the case. But it feels like there might be a smidgen of them listening to some voices outside the building.
Maybe I wouldn't view it that way necessarily. I think I would go, okay, the last 3, maybe not 3, 2. Last 2 games specifically, Philly, Dallas, offense has sputtered completely. And what was in common with both those games was a lack of Terry McLaurin, right? So in the Philly game, he gets his one catch. It's on the right-hand side, and that's it. That's his catch for the day. And that's in like the third quarter. And then against Dallas, what did he have before? So it was 5 catches, 102 and a touchdown. Subtract the 80. What was it? 86. Yeah, 4 catches, 16 yards. Like, what are we doing? Right? Like, it's that right there. I think you look at those two, you go, we lost. Inexcusable. What if we just get him the ball? So I don't even know that it's necessarily listening to other people because it's just obvious. I think he probably saw it was like, what if we just gave it to him?
See, that's
like,
a good fucking answer. See, when I'm in bed chewing all my fucking anti-anxiety meds because I'm convinced I'm gonna have a heart attack, I'm just gonna talk to you.
Yeah,
you calm me out,
baby.
Fuck that theory. They just realized, look, Terry hasn't been involved enough. Let's get him involved. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm good with it.
That's why you have the coaches you do. That's why Brian Johnson's there. Anthony Lynn's there. It's like, hey, this guy's a bad motherfucker. Let's get him the ball first play. What do you think about that? And we'll go from there.
Scrap my catastrophizing.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. We go back to Mr. Payne with a couple more here. One about Jayden. Like the fact that Jayden in interviews don't shit on his teammates. True leader at quarterback. And that was true from the prior presser. After losing to Dallas, he took his blame and said, we can all be better, got to execute together, etc. But it was never a, these guys are not doing their job. It was never anything like that. It was us collectively and me. Jayden's been good so far with the media, I think.
I mean, I don't give props for that. It's what you're supposed to do. I think if you do something less than that, then I get to shit on you. Like beyond that, okay.
Meeting expectations is good though. Yeah, you need to.
I guess that's fair. That's fair. And but I think that I'd want to see more adversity first.
Well, I think a 3-game losing streak, some adversity. No, okay. Rib injury.
Chicago right now. Like Caleb starts wilding out in Chicago. Like that to me, if he doesn't wild out in Chicago, that's a wonderful test. Okay, that's a wonderful test.
I don't know. I think I would make the case he sort of wild out by changing the play. Once 13th, that was inexcusable. The more I think about it, that's crazy. You can't change that play.
But here's the thing: the rest of the team had his back, so he ain't wilding.
Yeah, because he apologized for Shane Waldron getting fired. And he was probably said in a players-only meeting, I will not apologize once Matt Eberflus is gone. In fact, I'll cause it.
I'm just saying, he's doing stuff on behalf of the team. He ain't throwing anybody.
No, it's true. It's true. That's why they added back. Yeah. Keenan Allen, after that game, I felt we as players did enough to win the game. Very much that.
We got to get rid of these motherfuckers, man. We got
actually, man. Thank
God for leadership.
Mr. Payne concludes with LMAO. All Riverboat Ron first-round picks are gone within this new regime. Chase does nothing for New Orleans. Jahan does nothing for Philly. No one picked up Jamin. That's not true. He's now at the Minnesota Vikings. Was briefly picked up at Green Bay, but no one picked up Jamin. And Forbes likely doesn't contact, so he probably won't get picked up either. Thanks, Ron. We have Jayden Daniels now. Not worried about our team. We're ahead of schedule, and we'll build through the draft. Is the comment there from Mr. Payne? Get out your reaction.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on Ron. I will say that there's the Twitter video that's making the rounds in the last couple of days.
Oh, the Emmanuel Forbes.
The Emmanuel Forbes situation. I watched that. Yeah, we gotta get they were so high on him, and the conversation with New England. And then what I did was I went back and I rewatched our draft video that night.
We were asking about Christian.
I called Forbes because I had a feeling it was. But as soon as we start talking about Forbes, and within 30 seconds, New England made the pick for Christian.
We even said that, right? They're like, well, they just ran that in.
And we were like, I don't like that. We don't like that at all. It was no. So bad vibes, and we definitely swung it. We were, oh man, he's a ball hawk. He's gonna be this. He's gonna be that. Yeah. Look, man, I still think the dude. I think he got fucked over early on in his career.
Oh,
and
go ahead.
Sometimes I think what Dan Quinn is talking about is accurate. You need to change the scenery every once in a while. I think that can be a good thing. Look at Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. Look at Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. Sometimes you need just to go away somewhere and do your thing. I never questioned Forbes's. I'm not gonna say that. there was very rarely I ever questioned his effort. It ain't like Chase Young, where I was like, that's a problem. Like, I could clearly see you're not trying right now.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on either Jamin Davis or Emmanuel Forbes, the players, at all. And I completely agree with you. First off, I don't know what they were drafted to do, just based on the defensive scheme, looking back at Jack Del Rio and whatever. I couldn't tell you. I legitimately couldn't tell you. Like, it was just, they were set up to fail. We talk about situation mattering a whole lot. And multiple times we're like, you're killing this kid, in reference to Emmanuel Forbes. You're just like, this isn't what he does well. Why are you making him do that? So then he comes in, I think, shattered confidence. Honestly, I think we'll end up seeing if he goes, and this is important for him now, because corner's hard, right? So I do think he's going to end up landing somewhere. And if he gets proper coaching that matches his skill set, you cannot argue with the instincts that worked in college. Do they work in the pros is a question, right? Also with his frame, because he's going to be asked to do other stuff, tackle, be physical, etc. At his frame, it's probably difficult, as we saw. But doesn't mean that if he gets an injection of confidence from a coaching staff and they put him in situations where he can succeed, that he can't be successful in the league. So yeah, I'm not giving up on those guys at all. So anyway, agreeing with you in long form is what I just did there. Yeah. With a couple comments remaining, we go to Big Papa Grizzly. Shout out. Coming in hot post game. Boy, what a game. Feels good to blow teams out again. Going into the bye week on this kind of high feels great. Not just a win, but a fucking beatdown. Back to our old shenanigans, and it feels so good. Shades on, gentlemen. Shades on indeed, Big Papa. Kid, I felt good today. I felt relieved. I picked Tennessee. Hand up. I picked Tennessee. You picked Washington. You maintained faith. And the way this happened was awesome. Just from start to finish, just about. An excellent team performance.
Yeah, man. It didn't necessarily happen the way that we thought it would. We called the game plan. We called it accurately. We just didn't think they'd execute because we haven't seen them execute the game plan in a few weeks. They did it. That feels great. To know that it isn't I think today what that does is like, has Cliff Kingsbury been found out? Shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Shut up.
Exactly.
Is Jayden Daniels a bust? Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
That was
that
nonsense.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Shut up. Right? Is this a team that can still improve? Absolutely. Is this a team that's supposed to be able to beat those bad teams? Yes. And it comes with, are they healthy and are they executing? And no one can tell me that when a Marshawn Lattimore gets added to that defense, it doesn't improve it. So, looking at the rest of the season, once again, we are playing with house money. I don't really give a fuck what happens the rest of the season, the same way I didn't really give a fuck for most of this season, except for every once in a while when they really got into my emotions because something happened I was ashamed of. But we're in a good spot. Just remember that. Regardless of whatever happens the rest of the season, we are in a good fucking spot.
Yeah. Timestamp this. Put it in a capsule. We're 8-5 in a recalibration year. We're in a good spot. In a strong NFC at that. One more time. Yep. We're in a good spot. We conclude with Jess Santo. Shout out.
Postgame.
Fuck
yeah. All right.
I was unable to watch the game today because I was back in my hometown visiting my family for the holiday. I did manage to bring my Gibbs Bible with me. John 70 Chip. And after you have suffered a little while, the quarterback of all grace, who has called you to his eternal commander fandom, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. Daniels 42:19. Be still and know that I am him. Hey, Lombard, put Daniels behind the Eagles O-line, give him Barkley, Brown, and Smith, and he will eat defenses' lunches with 3 seconds to pass every down. It would be 40 burgers on the Mad Reg, son. Cite that. Put the word out. We back up. Share this shit. I gotta say, that might be my favorite Jess Santo comment ever. The Daniels 42:19, that is a colon between the 42 and 19 as well. Beautifully done. Get on.
We back up. we on the street. We're back up. The product is back. All right, we got the red tops. They on the street. They let motherfuckers fall out. We back up. there's nothing I love more than creating a bit and having you guys run with it. I love that shit. I love it so much. Keep it coming, man.
Would love more Gibbs Bible verses. Yeah, that's great.
If you got the Gibbs Bible, you just rattle off the word. Oh, hail him, hail Coach Gibbs, and bring us the word.
I gotta read Daniels 42:19. Be still and know that I am him. May have to throw that on a shirt. Like, that's awesome. That is awesome. Oh, that's great. And that was the Comment Mailbag. This was the show. This was District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to the recap episode of the beatdown against the Tennessee Titans, 42-19 victory. We're 8-5 on the season. And if you enjoyed the episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Pray to him, and then share this shit.
Share this shit. And hey, like Jess Santos said, we back up. So until then, take it easy, and we'll see you for the All-22 review.
Bye, everybody.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.